briefly join Ulysses on his road of trials by reading the following excerpt from Samuel Butler's translation of the Odyssey. As you read, identify the conflicts and think about the purpose of each conflict. Also, pay attention to the different types of directions Circe gives Ulysses to help him on his journey. To see how conflicts and directions are incorporated in a character's road of trials, select the components to the right and scroll through the passage. Select Help to toggle these instructions. From Samuel Butler's translation of Book 12 of the Odyssey. Circe, a minor goddess known for her magical abilities, attempts to warn Ulysses on the trials that await him. Here she explains two possible routes to Ithaca, Ulysses' home. Stay here for the rest of the day, feast your fill, and go on with your voyage at daybreak tomorrow morning. In the meantime, I will tell Ulysses about your course, and will explain everything to him so as to prevent your suffering from misadventure either by land or sea. We agreed to do as she had said, and feasted through the livelong day to the going down of the sun. But when the sun had set and it came on dark, the men laid themselves down to sleep by the stern cables of the ship. Then Circe took me by the hand and bade me be seated away from the others, while she reclined by my side and asked me all about our adventures. "So far so good," said she, when I had ended my story, "and now pay attention to what I am about to tell you. Heaven itself indeed will recall it to your recollection. First you will come to the sirens, who enchant all who come near them. If any one unwarily draws in too close and hears the singing of the sirens, his wife and children will never welcome him home again, for they sit in a green field and warble him to death with the sweetness of their song. There is a great heap of dead men's bones lying all around, with the flesh still rotting off them. Therefore pass these sirens by and stop your men's ears with wax, that none of them may hear. But if you like you can listen yourself, for you may get the men to bind you, as you stand upright on a cross piece halfway up the mast, and they must lash the rope's ends to the mast itself, that you may have the pleasure of listening. If you beg and pray the men to unloose you, then they must bind you faster. When your crew have taken you past these sirens, I cannot give you coherent directions as to which of two courses you are to take. I will lay the two alternatives before you, and you must consider them for yourself. On the one hand, there are some overhanging rocks against which the deep blue waves of Amphitrite beat with terrific fury. The blessed gods call these rocks the Wanderers. Here not even a bird may pass, no, not even the timid doves that bring ambrosia to Father Jove. But the sheer rock always carries off one of them, and Father Jove has to send another to make up their number. No ship that ever yet came to these rocks has got away again, but the waves and whirlwinds of fire are freighted with wreckage and with the bodies of dead men. The only vessel that ever sailed and got through was the famous Arago on her way from the house of Aeetes, and she too would have gone against these great rocks, only that Juno piloted her past them for the love she bore to Jason. Of these two rocks, the one reaches heaven and its peak is lost in a dark cloud. This never leaves it, so that the top is never clear, not even in summer and early autumn. No man, though he had 20 hands and 20 feet, could get a foothold on it and climb it, and it runs sheer up, as smooth as though it had been polished. In the middle of it there is a large cavern looking west and turned towards Erebus. You must take your ship this way, but the cave is so high up that not even the stoutest archer could send an arrow into it. Inside it Scala sits and yelps with a voice that you might take to be that of a young hound, but in truth she is a dreadful monster, and no one, not even a god, could face her without being terror-struck. She has 12 misshapen feet and 6 necks and the most prodigious teeth, and at the end of each neck she has a frightful head with 3 rows of teeth in each, all set very close together, so that they would crunch any one to death in a moment, and she sits deep within her shady cell, thrusting out her heads and peering all round the rock, fishing for dolphins or dogfish, or any larger monster that she can catch of the thousands with which Aphrodite teems. No ship ever yet got past her without losing some men, for she shoots out all her heads at once and carries off a man in each mouth. You will find the other rocks lie lower, but they are so close together that there is not more than a bow shot between them. A large fig tree in full leaf grows upon it, and under it lies the sucking whirlpool of Charybdis. 3 times in the day does she vomit forth her waters, and 3 times does she suck them down again. See that you be not there when she is sucking, for if you are, Neptune himself could not save you. You must tongue the scow aside and drive your ship by as fast as you can, for you had better lose 6 men than your whole crew. Is there no way, said I, of escaping Charybdis and at the same time keeping Scala off when she is trying to harm my men? You daredevil, replies the goddess, you are always wanting to fight somebody or something. You will not let yourself be beaten even by the immortals. So we want to go ahead and find the character versus character conflict. You can see here, so that they would crunch anyone to death in a moment, and she sits deep within her shady cell, thrusting out her heads and peering all round the rock, fishing for dolphins and dogfish, or any larger monster that she can catch. Of the thousands with which Aphrodite teems, no ship even yet got past her without losing some men, for she shoots out all her heads at once and carries off a man in each mouth. Now, as far as the character versus nature, the blessed gods call these rocks the wanderers. Here not even a bird may pass, no, not even the timid doves that bring ambrosia to Father Jove. But the sheer rock always carries off one of them, and Father Jove has to send another to make up their number. And then character versus self, you must consider them for yourself. So basically, you have the character trying to talk in their head and decide what would happen. The landmark directions: some overhanging rocks against which the deep blue waves of Aphrodite beat with terrific fury, and then the cardinal directions: looking west and turn towards Eurytus.